and 612. So this afternoon, and for a portion of the day, the 612 teachers got together, discussed an article about a very high-performing school district and what their practices are, and we discussed it. So what does it mean to us? And I think I left feeling like, hey, we're all working on this together. We all see the validity in the work that we're doing, and just keep doing this is the deal. Don't chase some shiny ball that's out there. Just keep doing the work and empowering our teachers and trusting their professionalism and their judgment, but making sure they have resources and tools too. And I talked about being in this kind of a servant role. All of us are. So my job is to serve you as Board of Education, to serve the administrative team, to serve the teachers. Their role in turn is to serve our students and our families. And as long as we have this culture of giving and thankfulness and working hard and commitment, I'm super optimistic about the future of Mayville. I think we're doing all the things right now. I think it's just been super busy for everybody throughout the past couple of years, and I think we're starting to make it in a place that this is where we want to be. So with that, we do have some more conversations we've had about the loose and tight of our core instruction piece of our universal instruction. We have a definite emphasis on focusing on literacy, and that is something where we can look at the data and we could say, hey, we can celebrate that. It's about continuous improvement. We want to keep it going. Can't rest on your laurels on anything. And then also, for us, a lot of it is about a workshop mindset too. So that'll be coming up. So at a district level, we're in our first year of strategic planning. So we did 2 years of SAIL, which is let's say like 100-day planning, and it was great to start to bring us all together. But this is a whole nother level of like a waterfall effect of all these pieces kind of going back and forth and working more as a system. So we are hoping to have a draft of that in the month of December. So it probably will be right before winter break. You'll see the first draft of that. And the basics of it were shared with you, and the basics of it were shared with the staff already. Really what it comes down to is the calibration and how we're going to measure it, and what does it mean to be successful. That's what needs the conversation. So it'll be a draft, and we'll talk about it. I don't think it'll be done. So
I know some people would probably disagree, but you can also measure with iReady as well. I mean, at least because we
that's in it, just so you know. That is it. So we have 4 core areas, the learning portion of it. We are counting on iReady as being one of those scores for us.
iReady.
So it doesn't have to do, and we actually have, and Carrie's in the audience, and I'm going to use the wrong term again. So it's what mastery?
What?
Mastery?
Standards mastery.
Standards mastery. Right
Yes.
now, we talked about it today. It's an assessment.
Buzzword?
It's an assessment that comes with iReady, okay? And it is assessing, do our kids have that standard mastery or not? And that has a direct correlation to the forward. So we're talking about making sure the staff have exposure and time and training and how to use that. So you can give it, but how do we use that information? And how does that fit in with our curriculum? Well, hopefully with all the movement and progress we've been making, these things start to mesh together. So we don't want it to be another thing. We want it to be a part of the practices. There's only so much time in the day. So we have dedicated time this year. I mean, I have a calendar in front of us of additional time set aside for our staff to work collaboratively on that universal instruction piece and our alignment. So we have engaged with some consultants to support our work too, both in literacy and numeracy. And overall, I think the feedback's been very positive about it from staff. We have our new math adoption. It is a 3-year rollout. So at the high school level, those courses are going to be rolled out little by little. That vertical alignment work that we've been talking about for a couple of years, we're wrapping up the basics of it, and now it's time to start getting on to more of these assessments. So what we are doing is for this year and through next year is working to create these high quality balanced assessments that align to their state report card. So our students are getting exposure to this type of experience, not just on the test. We want to help them so when they see it, that you're not going to get that exact question from the test, but we can give you something like it, We can give you exposure to it, so then you have tools in your toolbox and you won't be so nervous about the test itself. And it'll just be, it's about that exposure and practice. So, and then our growth-oriented classrooms and our continuous improvement stuff, we are constantly bringing that to the staff, and that'll be ongoing. That's not going anywhere. That's who we are now here in Mayville. In the K-8 world, I mentioned it earlier, but it's about a reading and writing workshop model as well as math workshop, so that the tenets of workshop really are infused into the reading, the literacy, and the numeracy initiative in our school system. So we are working on getting more articulate with our systemic, equitable, multi-level systems of support. A lot of big words there. What does it mean? It means our closing the gap. That's what it means. Got it. It's about closing the gap. And we have our students who are at risk. We're providing different opportunities for them. It's about kids that are in need of academic and behavior intervention and providing a system support to that. And it's also about gifted and talented. So you need to be aware. So we have had a reignited effort towards this. So right now, we have Dr. Scott, Dr. Rebecca Scott, our school psychologist. She and Jackie Dealer are doing a great job of organizing our gifted and talented programs behind the scenes and starting to reach out to families, because it's when we talk about multi-level systems of support, it's sometimes I've heard it called learners on the edges. So you've got your GT advanced students, and then you've got your students who need that extra scoop of academic and they need to be lifted. Well, we have measured on growth on all kids. So while they're a high achiever over here, they still need to grow. And if they don't hit that expected level of growth, it actually is a negative for us. So they could be very high achievers, but because they just didn't grow that year, it actually is a negative impact on us. So we have expanded our instructional coaching to support the workshop implementation. And these are things like when I share them, I'm great sharing them with you. When budgets get tight, these are things that start to get looked at. That is no fun. I'm here celebrating with you. This is really important to us. So it's, as I put this together, I thought, hey, I just want to say this is very important. When our teachers are doing the level of work, that it's not turned to chapter 2 of a textbook in 2nd grade and 3rd grade, having instructional coaches and people side by side helping them, having the conversations about this, lifting up our learning organization, it's really important. We have to have people that there to help them out, and to give them that critical feedback in a safe way. So to me, that's something that I want to say is a non-negotiable. We got to hang tight. These are things that we have to do. We're in our 2nd year expansion of a new phonics program. We had a lot of positive feedback and success with that last year. We know that we have a group of students that are in the middle school, because it's 3rd grade, that did not get that curriculum. So we're actually expanding it into 3rd grade this year. So making sure they've got a strong foundation in phonics. So it's all about closing that literacy achievement gap. And then the last thing on this screen is about our 2nd step curriculum. So that's our new social emotional learning curriculum. Because really it comes down to, today we talked about rigor. So rigorous curriculum, you're hearing that. Okay. There's a relevancy piece connecting to the ACT. Okay. And the next part is about the relationships and that growth mindset and that continuous improvement. And that social emotional learning curriculum really helps to tie that together for us. And then we're also having this character dare conversation and character education dialogue with staff that are little by little kind of dripping into our organization. You know, so to us, they're just there's not enough time in the day, but in the meantime, all of this is so important, and it's something that we need to celebrate.
The social emotional learning curriculum also helps kids develop things like self-control and emotional regulation.
For sure.
And without that, you're not going to be able to do math or sit through your reading lesson. So I do see that as an investment towards student achievement.
Awesome. So at the high school level, it is about redefining ready. Okay, so it's a college, career, and community readiness. It used to be college, career, and what was the other C? Oh no? College and career readiness. So for us, it's about Cardinals. We're starting to celebrate and acknowledge student behavior work through Cardinal scores. We've pulled out the academics; those are getting reported through the standards type of work. But then we still need to acknowledge the Cardinal scores. This is something that is happening K-12 for us. They have actually, Lee and Tom mentioned to you as a board about a kind of a reward system based upon Cardinal scores at the high school. So for us, everything goes beyond the ACT. Anything happening at a state level with leadership and superintendents and high school administrators say, please do more than the ACT. That is not enough. That's coming into this report card eventually, by the way. So we will be measured based upon the amount of students that we have taking the advanced coursework, youth apprenticeships. We are working with CISA 6 to expand our youth apprenticeship efforts. Just
So you
so
say
you're
those
aware.
would be new data points?
They will end up being. Yeah, yeah. So, but we believe one of our things is about volunteerism, and it was just at the NHS induction ceremony yesterday. You know, their goal as a group is to have 4,000 hours of community service hours this year. You know, that stuff really matters. Giving back, that's a big deal.
So these data points that are coming down, and we're preemptively saying these are going to be new data points, but where are we getting that information?
Okay, so
Is that
our
coming
data
down from
points, it's all
DPM?
local. So this is us. So they're going to be turning to us and saying, okay, our kid's exhausting your curriculum. Our kids, how many students are taking AP classes? How many are taking CAP classes? That kind of stuff. We're actually including that in our own scorecard, just so you're aware. So we believe that matters, so we're good with it. Like that to me is not controversial. If anything, that's where we want things to head. It's more than a score on a test. They actually, there are universities right now that you don't have to submit that ACT if you don't want to. It's optional. Yeah. So things are changing. So we've never said that to all omnipotent. One score means everything. We never. It's way more than that. So I would say that schools, this is what we're advocating for. So for us in our scorecard, it's going to have that kind of content, that kind of thing that we're measuring. With that comes some discussion about how do we support teachers in this world of getting college credit in high school? What are our opportunities with that? And how can we support them to do that? Because as of right now, you have to have a master's in your content area in order to do that. So conversation I had with staff and with you, I believe, is then like, well, maybe we need to compensate them for that because it has a direct ROI for our kids and our families. So something to think about for the future. So we do have the brand new math adoption for our Algebra 1 students. We didn't just send one teacher to that, we sent the whole team to that. So all of them are able to teach algebra and to learn the basics of what it means to be in a CPM classroom. So, and we are definitely have been aligning our student learning targets to the ACT. So we think we're doing right. We think we're doing great overall as far as our big picture objective. This stuff doesn't just change scores by the day. It's going to be a process, but we believe we have lots to celebrate. Our high school report card went up significantly in 1 year. Our district report card went up. Our data trend for middle school is reflecting what's happening at the state. It's still not good enough for us. We still want to break that cycle, absolutely. And we're going to be working together on that. So I think we've got a great story to share tonight. And I know that out there, people are trying to do comparisons. And I would just say, hey, be very careful with the data points. And if you want to look at an ACT score by school district, that'd probably be pretty easy to do. There, go look at those. That makes sense. But looking at a score based upon gaps in growth and achievement and your subgroups, which I didn't get into our different subgroup dynamics necessarily, but these are moving targets. So we're starting to understand it at a much greater level. At a leadership piece, we want to make sure the staff are getting to that same place with us. But no matter what, all kids have to grow, right? Expect all students to grow, all staff, or all students to achieve. That's the objective, period. It should have always been that way, and the United States of America for free appropriate public education. And now we have school report cards that take into account gaps, growth, and achievement. So just very difficult to do comparisons. So I would say if you're going to do comparisons as a society, look at ACTs first. That's probably the best thing.
And then on that note, Scott, we have a huge increase on the overall score. Did we see the same increase on the ACT average?
Yes, our ACT, we did have a big, we went up by 1.5.
Do you know what the number was last year?
It's 20.3 this year as a composite, so it would have been 18.8.
And so for us, we'd like to see it in that 20.3 zone. We'd like it to keep going.
And just curious, our top performers, what are they scoring?
Our range literally ran from 36 on some subs, mid-30s. If you talk to the people at ACT, anything in the high 20s to low 30s is rare air. It's not designed to rate 36. But we've had kids on the whole gamut, like I
This
said,
last year.
from 36 back. And every year we have high performers, and I think the difference this year was the work moving the kids that would maybe write a 17, move them to a 19, because they're all worth points, you know, that way. And I think on the ACT, the other notable piece is that we're above the state average in all our sub-scores, and each of our sub-scores improved from the year before. The one thing Scott and I talked about, if you don't mind, Scott, today talking to staff, is that that may not transfer to what you would expect on the report card, because if you look at where our student achievement is, we're still slightly below the state average as well, even though our ACT was very strong, which really tells you that that growth and closing gaps and the 9-10 achievement are just as important as that standalone ACT.
Yeah, you could have a very strong ACT as a building, but you could end up with a subgroup that gets identified, and their achievement could be low compared to everybody else. That would plummet your score.
Yeah. Our ACT right now, we run 20 comparables. And comparables is relative, as Scott has shared. So right now, the 20 comparables, we have the fourth highest composite in the area. So that's our goal, to be above the state average and continue to slowly trend up.
So the one challenge would be is, so with about 100 students in a class, the smaller you get, the more that data can do that. So if you're in a building with 800 students, we'll say, you're going to get much more stability when it goes along. So we definitely, with about 100 students in a class, or 85, you have, but it could definitely do that from year to year. So our goal is to try to get that to be just steady, not to see as much up and down.
Thank you.
How do we assess how we're doing on other subjects? Science is important, but it's not assessed.
So that we're working with the staff, and recently, a couple of years ago, we did adopt a new science curriculum. We do have, like, I call them team leaders, right? But that meet and we talk about, we're doing the same work for vertical alignment and science and social studies as we are with the other work too. To us, it absolutely matters. It's not getting reported here because now it's no longer assessed at that level, but it does matter for us. Right now, like having a conversation with Becky as far as at Parkview, they have kind of infused our science adoption that we recently went through with it's called Mystery Science. Mystery Science, because it's a great fit, and the staff are celebrating the resources that come with that. What's been happening is that also has been a moving target, the NGSS, so the science standards. Those were recently updated. Carrie, is there any changes in that coming?
What's that?
Science curriculum, any changes happening there in the next couple of years?
No, not
Okay.
that I know of.
At a state level?
I will add, Scott, there is a conversation that it may roll into the report card, but there may.
Oh, sure.
May now have a line for science, but it's a year to adopt, a year to give you the heads up.
So it would be a
probably-
while before that would happen. But
And social
If it
studies is coming up with something soon.
Social studies is out and the DPI is having districts look at a tentative schedule plan on what's going on. So our district is actually looking at social studies this year as one of our goals.
So there are new music standards in the state, like all of our departments are doing the same work. So there's not like our focus is on just ELA and math. It's actually every department is working on alignment. If they're a department of one, they're making
Right.
sure that they have all their resources put together. We are working on public documents of our standards work, and so our goal is to have all of those up online. So what do you want kids to know and be able to do? Here's a public document that goes along with that. It's more of a slimmed down version. So our goal is to have all of those up online by the end of the year. So we have public documents. I mean, we do have the documents. We're still reviewing them. But if someone were to ask for the ELA, we have them.
Yes, we do.
So
We
those
just
are,
have
those were, to be fair, those have been the priority, right?
Sure.
ELA and math, they have been.
Sure.
Based upon just the amount of time we spend in a school day dedicated to those. So those were number one, but all the rest of the resources are coming through.
And our ELA standards at Wisconsin DPI are under review right now. And math is under review in the spring, but that isn't going to affect anything for another couple of years. So as we, communicate with DPI on what they're doing with the standards, then we will continue to align ours.
All right. Well, thanks for the questions. If you want to go a deeper dive, so our school performance report cards will be online on our website, not just the cover page there. And really the story comes down to when you start to dig down and you look at what's happening with the subgroups and our data trend. So that's where we really need to start also. It's achievement for all, but when you are measured on closing gaps and growth, you have to dig in and you absolutely look at all those gaps, all those small groups.
All right, thank you,
So,
Scott.
all right.
Jackie, what do you have coming up?
I think, yeah, I feel like I don't have any pictures to show you tonight, so I've got
Go home.
we had VIP day a couple of weeks ago, so the kids were able to invite a very important person in their life to come and spend about an hour at school with them. So that was a good day. We are looking to be celebrating our end of first trimester and through our PBIS program, and we'll be doing a movie afternoon the next Tuesday leading up to Thanksgiving break. We have a woman by the name of Kim Dabney coming in to work with our grade level teams next Monday. She's been working with us. She worked with us back last year, this last August, and she's coming in again to continue to continue helping us work on our reading that we're doing with kids and making sure we are giving well-rounded instruction with our learners. So she'll be helping us, I believe it is with shared reading or interactive reading, I can't remember which one. And we'll actually be fishbowling and going into classrooms and watching her model with kids, and then the teachers will get a chance to actually model it as well and to walk through it. Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about the safety reports, those got that listed in there? Or is that something different?
We're gonna do them all in a row,
Okay.
okay?
All right, then that's all I
Yes.
have right now.
So the state statutes expect the Board of Education to get an official safety report, so guess what you have in your agenda tonight? An official safety report. So we'll just go through just the housekeeping stuff and we'll do it all together. Thanks, Mickey.
Okay, Bob.
Yes, this past Monday, we had a Veterans Day program. Our 6-8 students went up to the high school. Thank you for having them, Lee. And Parkview joined us at the middle school in the afternoon. This was kind of a K-5 presentation. I want to thank Maureen Schulte and the American Legion Post in town here, Post 69, for joining us that day. We had several members in their formal dress attend and be our guests of honor. We enjoyed students singing songs as well as students sharing writings about what it means to be a veteran or what it means to them, Veterans Day. So it was a real moving program, I thought, and I thought it really gave our veterans the due that we deserve for the sacrifice and the service that they have provided over the many years. Camp grade 6 is in progress of being organized. They already have a schedule out, or I don't think